grow their YouTube, but it's a platform that helps you save time.
Hello and welcome to my views and news. Thank you for joining this session of live chat. Can you hear me? Thank you. Thank you for responding with yes. Let me welcome. Let me welcome you one by one. Kimal Sakakeba is the first one who has joined, but I think his message has been retracted. Anonymous. Anonymous is the name. Nahome Asefa, Ultimate Truth, Oromo News, K12H, JXJZ, Sammy S, Antok, RBK, Ultimate, Rahul Tisfaye, Yiju Media, Jazz, Vedtoker, Himrarib, Rashid, Chilote Getu, Bulune Gizao, Eline Niyore, Amare, Aliraya. Aliraya is one of the first viewers always, most of the time. ENJ, Ali Joy, Endit Johannes, Amir, Johannes, Echi, Johannes Sabtom. I think I have read all the names. All those who have joined so far. Bishko is the last one. Ato Bale and Bishko, Sammy are the last ones. Thank you for joining. Wonderful audience, wonderful people. I will share with you my analysis and a report which I have received about the Ethiopia-Eritrea tension. What is SASA work doing at the end of this video? Let's just talk, respond to each other. Firstly, I have enabled channel membership. If you want to be member of a channel, member of this channel, you can join the channel membership. You will have early access to videos. You will have exclusive access to me as well. Secondly, through this chat as well, if you want to support my views and news, you can buy super chat stickers, thanks, etc., which are available. This is super chat function, which is available now where I am staying these days. So if you want to support the channel, you can buy a super chat, thanks, etc. If you want to be a permanent member, you can subscribe to the channel, be a paid subscriber, and I try to give preference to comments of those who are paid subscribers because they care for this channel, so I care about them. I care about all of you, but obviously those who want to support this channel, I have the responsibility and obligation to talk to them, to respond to their queries, etc. Let me just start the channel, start this chat. Now let me take questions and read comments. Anonymous has written first comment. Anonymous says, Sajid, please speak for the kingdom of Shoa and Shoa tribe of Ethiopia. What can Sajid say about kingdom of Shoa? I mean, we should not create new kingdoms. Already there are so many splits in Ethiopia. There should be a Showa kingdom. Then there should be Romoma project. There should be some Amhara kingdom. Tigrayans would claim the same. Where will it stop, by the way? Oromo says no audio. Audio is fine, I think, Oromo. Please recheck Oromo News. And Dalg says, I appreciate your honest coverage always. Thank you, Endak. By the way, my family reads all your comments. My daughters, now they're grown up. They can read English perfectly, skilled. And they say, Sajid, your haters comment too much, but those who appreciate comment less. Why don't you ban the haters? They don't like that their father is being criticized, and sometimes unfairly, most of the time. So I always tell them that I am speaking. I should let others speak too. I have a responsibility to tell the people what I want to tell, what I have learned through research, through talking to people. People have the same responsibility as well to ensure that they share right information with me, that they share right information through their comments. So whatever you write is read by my family. I think your families read too, because I am contacted by people, mothers and sons, fathers and daughters. They say, we watch your channel together. So it's basically a family channel. ENJ says, how did you get interested in East Africa? What is your main agenda, Sajid? Andit Johannes asks. Firstly, how did I get interested in East Africa? If you watch my channel's playlists, you would see that I started from Middle East. In 2019, I think my earliest videos were about Afghanistan war, then Iran-Israel conflict, then Turkey, Syria, Palestine, and after that, Turkey-Syria war. It was less than a month-long war. I covered that. Then Libyan civil war. I did that too. I did hundreds of videos back then. Turkey sent its military there. And after that, Azerbaijan-Armenia war. I did hundreds of videos on Azerbaijan-Armenia war. 44-day long war, deadly war, that too, when Azerbaijan took control of Shusha and Stepanakert. And then started Tigray war in November 2020. So the war took me to Tigray, to Ethiopia. Basically, I cover wars. I have interest in covering wars. I try to do my research, try to talk to people, and then I make videos. So war took me to Ethiopia. But it was impossible to understand Ethiopian war without understanding Ethiopian politics. I had to study Ethiopian politics. I had to study EPRDF. I had to study Eritrea, Ethiopia, issues, independence, dogs, etc. Ola, then all other related developments. That is how I got interested and I started learning. I am a student just learning from you, but I analyze conflicts impartially. I analyze developments in Ethiopia impartially because I have no interest in backing any party. I don't want to be paid by anyone. I don't need money. You see, I'm staying at a hotel. I can afford a 3-star, 4-star hotel easily. I don't need anyone's financial contribution. What I am earning, I'm earning through my hard work. I work 12 hours a day, sometimes 14 hours a day. That is how I earn. People say, Sajid, you are earning from Ethiopia. I am earning not a single penny from Ethiopia. I don't know if there is no YouTube monetization in Ethiopia, though 40% of channel viewership is from Ethiopia. But I get not a single dollar from Ethiopia. Viewership is spread across the world, US, Europe, Africa too, but main viewership is in Europe and America. So that is how I got interested in East Africa. There is no politics in Eritrea, someone says. Yes, but there is no politics in Ethiopia as well. If you say there is no opposition in Eritrea, is there any opposition in Ethiopia? Only difference is that Ethiopia has many centers of power. Eritrea has only one center of power. But in both countries, there is no opposition. In Ethiopia, people are sharing power. Tigrayan elite, Oromo elite, Amhara elite, sharing power. In Eritrea, PFDJ, one man, then of kitchen cabinet. But basically, no true democracy in Ethiopia as well. If there is no politics in Eritrea, is there true politics in Ethiopia? No. Taibu says, please like the live stream. Thank you, Taibu. Titi, well, though you have realistic, unbiased, balanced, and sensible content, we don't watch CNN or BBC. By the way, CNN and BBC can do a lot if they want to. Because they have so many resources, and they're earning more than me. They're reporters. For example, I used to talk to some of them. They used to contact me in times of war. I had more information than them about war fronts. They used to contact me, so we were very open in terms of earnings as well. They're earning more than me, by the way. They're being paid by their organizations, but they have their own constraints, which I don't have. They can do a lot if they want to, I think. They have access to resources. They have access to local people, access to everything. What is missing? What is missing? I'm unable to understand. I think they can do wonderful reporting about Ethiopia and Eritrea because they have so much available at their disposal. Maybe they don't want to try something new. They don't want to risk their jobs. They're just bound by the agenda which is set for them. Maybe. What is your profession? Fitsum says, if a man is working 14 hours a day on YouTube, what would be his profession? This channel is now my profession. It wasn't my profession, by the way. I was never a YouTuber. But and I never thought that I would be working 14 hours a day on YouTube. But since I have to work so much on YouTube, so that is why now this is my sole profession. You go too far when it comes to Tigray. What do you mean? Please let me know. Sajid, what is your view on the future of Eritrea? One thing, just one point. I can speak on this topic, but just one point. Great leaders are those who build institutions. Whether they stay or leave does not matter. They build institutions. Institutions take the countries further. Those are the great leaders. They have ideology behind their thinking, and they incorporate the ideology in their work. They build a class of people who serve people. So they have vision, exposure, then vision, and they build. They don't just make decisions on their own. They have people, they consult, they build institutions, they leave. Nelson Mandela could have remained South Africa's president for life, but he chose against it. There are several other examples too, but world loves Nelson Mandela. So, has Isaias Afwerki built institutions which will work democratically in a transparent manner after he is no more? We have to die, each of us. We have to die. We'll die. Death is natural. It comes. So Isaias Afwerki will die. I'll die too. Problem is that has he built, as a leader, he has responsibility. Has he built something on which Eritrea can then erect a new structure? I don't see that foundation. That foundation is missing. This is the main problem. I am not against anyone, but a man in power for 3 decades, by now he should have installed all the pillars necessary for building the ceiling and roof. Pillars are not there so far. How do you get your news on time and confirmed? Who do you get it from? I get it from multiple sources, from people, from other people who are working. But most of my sources are those who are anonymous. These are the people who know a lot. They have some limitations. They cannot speak openly, freely. Their identity, I have to keep anonymous. I promise to them that I won't leak their identity. These people work for me day and night, by the way. Why do they work for me? They don't charge me anything. They're the people who feel for Ethiopia, who feel for Eritrea. They want real change in these countries. They don't see any ray of hope. Media, local media outlets, very biased sometimes. And some of them are abroad too. They have seen how Western democracy works. Some of them have gone through the sufferings. Eritrean and some Ethiopians, they went through torture. So they know they have first-hand information of what is happening in these countries. They share with me the information. I salute them that they risk their life, their status, but they want to see a better Ethiopia. Believe me, they're not Ethiopian enemies or Eritrean enemies. No one hates Eritrea. No one hates Ethiopia. People want to see change. They compare Ethiopia and US. They compare Eritrea and US. They want West like freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of media, access to justice, access to basic services in their countries. That is their crime. Are you spying for Pakistan? I think you do. Abel Tareko is an intuitive man. I don't know how he concluded that I'm spying for Pakistan. Pakistan has no interest in spying. No interest spying in Eritrea. If you Pakistan has no interest here, by the way. Fano movement to Addis has been checked by ENDF. What do you think, Sajid? No. Fano movement to Addis has not been checked. I think Fano learned that it should not go for blitzkrieg to reach Addis Ababa. It should not repeat the mistake made by TPLF. It took control of big cities, towns. It was advancing rapidly, counteroffensive scheme. It learned that it's going to be difficult to reach Addis Ababa. So I think they changed the strategy a little. They're focused on the Amhara region now. They want to, Fano groups, they want to destabilize the Amhara region. They want to make it ungovernable. They want total chaos in the region. This chaos suits them. And then they want this chaos to spread towards Addis Ababa. They don't want to move like Tigray Defense Force moved towards Addis Ababa in thousands of, in units, groups of thousands. No. They have learned, and that is what I think they did in the past too. Decades ago, in a resistance movement, they adopted a similar strategy. And I think the strategy they have adopted is better in terms of results if you compare this strategy and strategy of a large-scale advance towards Addis Ababa. Yes, this strategy will take time. They cannot reach Addis Ababa overnight. But we're starting to see the impact of this insurgency. I did a video yesterday about revenue collection in the Amhara region. Around more than 1 billion birr decline in the last quarter in the region because of conflict. Who will suffer in the end? People. But governments, federal, regional, they are seeing that things not under their control. And today, Fano fighters took control of Ghent, Nifas Micha. So they are here. Any news on Tigray? Mihari vendor right. Last time Mihari complained that he had missed the live chat. So this time he is here. Welcome, Mihari. News on Tigray. I did videos this week about tensions. Getachew versus TPL. Getachew is not alone, by the way. Getachew has support of some military commanders, support of some TPLF members too, but senior TPLF leadership is now opposed to Getachew. Why? I spoke on that too. TPLF wants restoration of its status. It wants early election. It wants restoration of Tigray's territories. It wants return of IDPs, etc., etc. Getachew is slow. Slow speed suits him. If election is delayed, obviously he'll stay in power until election is held. So, and he does not want TPLF to take matters to a level where Getachew is pitted against federal government. He does not want to confront federal government. This is one of the problems between Getachew and other side. Overall, we could see some changes in Tigray, developments in coming days, I think. Political developments. Way forward is that Tigray People Liberation Fund and Getachew side will have to sit and agree on some common ground. Otherwise, you'll see that they were face to face. They were confronting each other a few days ago, and Getachew prevented a meeting of TPLF in Makale. It could happen again too, because meeting is scheduled to be held in coming days. Fano will free Gaza, YouTube says. Haki, Sajid, I've been following you since Tigray war, and the combination of your sources with your common sense judgment makes you expert. I wonder how you get access to the reliable sources. I told you about that. I responded to this question just a few minutes ago. What was your profession before a crisis? Who is asking that? Yapsira Tamiru. I worked in police. I worked in commando units. I was part of anti-terrorism operations. I was part of an intelligence agency. For 8 years, I worked in an agency. Then I resigned around more than 2 years ago. I resigned. Your email address. My email address is in description section of each and every video. You can find that SAJID Sajid 672000 @gmail.com. SAJID 672000 gmail.com. The watcher says, I guessed from the first time that you had a security background. How do you think the Assad claim will end? Haki Worki says. Difficult to say now. How is it going to end? We'll have to see how far Ethiopian PM is ready to go. How far militarily, how far diplomatically. And is he focused on Eritrea or other countries too? Let's wait. Let's not find the conclusion so early, I think. Sammy says, isn't it better to cooperate instead of owning ports, which is legally impossible? Isn't it dangerous for Abiy and Isaias to start a war for Assad, while Eritrea could give away weapons? So I think the two, yes, ideally the two should agree on some mutually beneficial understanding. That is the way forward, by the way. Landlocked countries have right to access. We cannot deny that. They have right to access. They have right to access to ports, but obviously they cannot claim this right by force. They have to negotiate. They have to talk. They have to find a mutually beneficial solution. And the other sides too, they should not use this thing as a tool of blackmailing the landlocked country. So I think it takes two to tango. If there is problem between Ethiopia and neighboring countries, it's not just because of Ethiopia. I think Ethiopia should involve some international mediators for a legally binding agreement about port use in a neighboring country. That is permanent solution to Ethiopian needs for port access. But here question would arise, will any neighboring country agree to a legally binding understanding about the use of its port by Ethiopia? Ethiopia is not ready to sign a legally binding agreement about GERD with Sudan, with Egypt. So I think lasting solution lies in some mechanism monitored by some maybe third party or a group of experts from the two countries and from some other countries, and a broader mechanism to finalize some agreement between Ethiopia and some neighboring countries. Bilateral agreements are easy to be violated. If there is international power behind the agreement, it might lead to a lasting solution. But which neighboring country is ready to give access to Ethiopia to its ports, while the access is acceptable for Ethiopia in terms of the cost of this access? What's your ID number? What is ID number? Your agent, Sajid. Oh my God. Can we make a conclusion that Abi Isas relation is over and say they uh, are enemies? Enemies, not the right word, but they're not on good terms. We can say that. Enemies, perhaps not the right word for any two persons. Afite asks if Ethiopia-Eritrea go to war, will Tigray generals lead Ethiopian army? If let's suppose, it does not mean that I'm saying they'll go to war first. We're just talking about a scenario. If Ethiopia invades Eritrea, ideally, PM Abiy would like Tigray's generals to be on his side. Whether you are pro TPLF, against TPLF, but we cannot deny that Tigray's generals have long experience of working in top positions. And the experience of generals matters a lot. People would say, Sajid, that experience ruined Tigray, the strategy adopted by Sadkan, where they did not deliver. It was a difficult war. It would be unfair to just put the entire blame on the generals of Tigray. Tigray region faced with Eritrea, with Ethiopia, siege, combat drones. It was a difficult war. So I would say that, yes, Abiy would like Tigray generals to be on his side. And why wouldn't Tigray generals be on Abiy's side? If not openly, discreetly. Samson, why is the US so fixated on Eritrea this much? Uh, both are, I think, can you analyze why is it acting like this with a small country? Well, Eritrea is also fixated on the US. Have you seen Isaias Afwerki, his recent appearances? Wherever he goes, he criticizes US. And he is the one who is always in front row when it comes to attending summits on Chinese, Russian platforms. And he tries to, he not only speaks there criticizing US, he tries to rally support. He talks to other leaders too, that we should unite against US. We should unite against EU, Europe. So while one man is so passionate about forming a global alliance against US and is trying to involve regional partners, international partners, very keen to see a third world order, a new world order. So do you think that US would watch everything idly? No, US would like to remove him. US always wanted to remove him. US could not. Do you reckon the Israeli and Palestinian conflict affect East Africa or Africa as a whole? Are you married, Sajid? Yusuf Anwar says, yes, I'm married. I told you about my daughters. The conflict in the Middle East can expand. Why? Because I'm covering that war. I told you on the other YouTube channel, Conflict News 2042. Before this live chat, I had a video, 20-minute long video on Conflict News 2042. Yemen-based Houthi fighters fired missiles yesterday. 3 attacks on Israel from Yemen over Red Sea. The missiles were intercepted in the air, and some landed off target in Egypt and Jordan. If the war expands, Yemen gets involved, you could see Israel try to hit Yemen. And in Yemen, there are several Arab countries operating there: Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iran. Sudan, already very destabilized. A relative calm in Yemen. But if Yemen is proactively involved in this conflict, we could see its impact on the Horn of Africa. Assad was used by UAE to carry out attacks, provide logistics to its proxies in Yemen. So, Horn of Africa could be drawn into this conflict. There are other angles too, to Israel-Palestine war, that if it goes on, Horn of Africa could be drawn into this conflict. Problem is the Horn of Africa has its own problems. East Africa, this region, Sudan, not part of the Horn, but civil war in Sudan, Somalia, a fractured state, Ethiopia, insurgency in Amhara region. So this region is very destabilized already and very vulnerable to impact of outside conflicts too. Black Lion, Mr. Sajid Lion, Black Lion says, Mr. Sajid, do you think Fano will join Isaias against Abiy if war started? Very difficult question, by the way. And we must, I think, discuss this question in some videos. If war breaks out, again, I would say, I don't say war is going to start. If war broke out, what would Amhara groups do? I mean, all Amhara groups. Amhara PP, Amhara Fano, Amhara diaspora. Will they continue their fight against Ethiopian PM Abiy, or will there be pressure on them to join the government? I think I have this feeling that maybe Isaias isn't ready to trust Abiy. He won't trust Abiy now. He isn't ready to trust Fano as well. Why? Because he trusted Abiy, and he saw that after Pretoria, Abiy shook hand with TPLF, and Isaias isolated to some extent, to the extent of Ethiopia at least. If Abiy waged war on Eritrea, what will Fano do? Can Isaias Afwerki trust that Fano will fight alongside Eritrean military? I don't think Isaias Afwerki trusts Amhara Fano. That is my understanding. I might be wrong. Samson, don't you think that in a region like the Horn of Africa, while building a nation and choosing stability instead of dynamism really limits the economic growth? Well, how to get long-term economic growth? How to get long-term economic growth? You can only get long-term growth through making the human resource capable, through creating favorable conditions, through keeping yourself updated with international developments, through opening up your country, your markets, through being transparent to the extent of your country at least. That is the way forward. But all that is missing in most of these countries. So you'll see bubbles of growth of a few years, of a few, maybe a decade, half a decade. Then the bubble pops, and you are back to the starting point. Someone says, Sajid, my views and news is my morning coffee. Thank you, Sajid. Thank you. Now, I want to share just three updates with you, which I have learned, I have analyzed, because almost 42 minutes have passed since the start of this live chat session. When I start chatting with you, time goes so fast. Now, how is Isaias Afwerki going to counter PM Abiy's narrative about the access to the Red Sea? What is he planning? There is no appetite for a war in Eritrea. In government circles, there is no appetite for a new war against Ethiopia. That is what I have learned through talking to people who say that that there is no appetite for a new war. Let me just adjust the. So we must be clear. Does Ethiopia have any appetite for a new war? What about Eritrea? Eritrea has no appetite for a new war. Isaias Afwerki does not want a new war at this point of time. So how is he going to prevent a war if Ethiopia tried to take matters to a higher level regarding military escalation? I think he's trying to play two cards here. He is trying to involve Arab countries. He's saying through diplomatic sources, we have learned that messages are being sent to Red Sea countries. Red Sea countries are several countries: Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Yemen, Djibouti, Somalia, Eritrea. All these countries are being contacted. Some contacted, some will be contacted. They're being told that what Ethiopia is saying, it's not about Eritrea, it's about all the Red Sea countries. So the Red Sea countries should form a joint stand, joint front against Ethiopia. They should send a joint message to Ethiopia that security of Red Sea is of paramount importance, that Ethiopia should not think of any adventure. A joint message from Red Sea countries to Ethiopia. That is what Isaias Afwerki wants. He is working on reporting. We've seen messages, strong messages to Ethiopia from Djibouti, from Somalia, but he wants more. Arab countries, especially Saudi Arabia. Arabia is the one which formed Red Sea Council, I think a few years ago. With Saudi Arabia is leading the coalition of Red Sea countries. And secondly, he's trying to involve China. China has huge investments in Ethiopia. Eritrea has also joined Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. If a war breaks out and the war expands toward the Red Sea, Chinese interests will be hurt. China would be a victim of this conflict, though China is a rich country, obviously. Loss of a few $1 billion does not matter, but these countries care about their losses. Businessmen don't want to suffer loss of even a single dollar. They want to increase their wealth. So I don't think that uh, China is ready to see a conflict in the Red Sea. ISAS is involving Chinese diplomats too. That strong message to Ethiopia should be sent that Ethiopia should not consider any adventure to destabilize the Red Sea. Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, one of the busiest commercial shipping routes of the world. So he's trying to create a regional, international coalition. I'm not saying some meetings are being planned to invite all these parties. No, but rather solitary messages are being sent to these countries that they should take Ethiopian threat seriously. It's not about Eritrea. It's about the security of Red Sea. So all should be concerned. All should talk to Ethiopia. Tell Ethiopia that come to your senses. Don't behave like an irresponsible country. That is what we have learned Eritrea is doing and planning to do. Eritrea does not want a new war at this point of time. People would again disagree. They would say, Sajid, you support Isaias Afwerki. Isaias Afwerki is hungry for new wars. I don't agree. Isaias Afwerki does not want a new war at this point of time. His military just out of a war. He knows he has weakened Ethiopia. He has weakened TPLF. I don't think Ethiopia can recover from this war in a few months or a few years even. It will take a long time. So he can, meanwhile, he can enhance the capabilities of his military, maybe work on economy and raise money for his military inside, outside country. Right now, he does not want a new war. That is what I have learned and I wanted to share with you. Thank you for watching, viewers. It was wonderful to be with you. 50 minutes have passed. I think we have talked a lot. I tried to talk to respond to your questions. Some were answered, some could not be answered. Those who are permanent members of the channel, those who have bought subscription, they can contact me by email as well. They can ask questions privately too. And if they want my contact number, yes, they can have the contact number as well. I'll be ready to and willing and happy to respond to your questions. Thank you for attending this live chat session. Thank you and see you in the next live chat session, hopefully this week. Thank you. Bye-bye.